output has been reduced as a result of this attack. It could take up to 5 years, according to reports, to repair the damage caused in that Iranian strike.
Meeting with Japan's prime minister at the White House today, President Trump reiterated what he told Israel about striking Iran's South Pars gas field.
I told him, don't do that, and he won't do that. We didn't discuss. We do, we're independent, we get along great. It's coordinated, but on occasion he'll do something, and if I don't like it, and so we're not doing that anymore.
Meantime, Israeli officials are pushing back on U.S. claims. President Trump knew nothing about the gas field attack. 3 Israeli officials tell Reuters the U.S. actually helped coordinate it. But from the U.S. side,
the Treasury Secretary says the U.S. military deliberately is avoiding Iran's infrastructure. He says that after the regime is gone, the president wants the Iranian people to have a foundation to rebuild that country.
Fox Business's Edward Lawrence. Oil and gas prices climb even more after the attacks on oil fields. Brent crude briefly reached $119 a barrel today. U.S. crude rising now more than $99 a barrel. America's listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Sponsored by Riverbank Theater, Boeing at thumbcoasttheaters.com. Experience live professional theater at Thumb Coast Theaters in downtown St. Clair and Marine City, where the magic of Broadway comes alive right here at home. Don't miss Boeing, the hilarious comedy where one flight captain, 3 fiancés, and a flight schedule collide. Book your tickets today at thumbcoasttheaters.com. That wreck on M59 westbound after Hayes Road is cleared, and we still have midday construction on I-94 westbound before Connor Street. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Weather Seal Home Improvements. Thinking about a new roof? Make the smart choice with Weather Seal Home Improvements. Right now, when you replace your roof, you'll get a $500 gas card. A beautiful new roof for your home plus $500 in gas? Yeah, that's a good deal. Schedule today at weathersealhomeimprovements.net. A mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 47, mostly cloudy for tonight. We'll drop down to 36. Morning showers for Friday. An overcast afternoon with a high of 62. Right now, partly cloudy, 46 degrees. I'm Rich Luzenski, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Reading label uses directed. Keep out of reach of children.
March is your lucky month at the Nerve and Disc Institute in Farmington, Clinton Township, Grand Blanc, and Bad Axe. Hi, it's Paul W. Smith. Thousands of people, like my wife Kim and I, feel extremely lucky that our chronic back, neck, and knee pain are gone, thanks to our lucky charm, Dr. Saul Kogan. His non-surgical, non-invasive intradisc neutrosis and knee restore RX treatments stimulate the body's self-repair healing process. If you have spinal stenosis, herniated, bulging, or degenerative discs, sciatica pain or numbness, tingling or burning in your hands, arms, or legs, you're in luck. When you mention WJR in March, you'll get a consultation, examination, x-ray, or MRI review, and a laser treatment for just $49 for your first visit at the Nerve and Disc Institute. Your luck is about to change for the better. Call 586-416-DISC. That's 586-416-3472. Call now.
It's more than news. It's a conversation. This is JR Afternoon on WJR. Here's Ryan Ermanni.
It's 2026. Ryan Ermanni, JR Afternoon, having a lot of fun on one of the greatest sports days of the year. There is no doubt about it. The Thursday and Friday of March Madness. The NCAA tournament is underway. It is a fantastic day, especially when the sun is shining and the day feels like spring is upon us. This is an abbreviated show today, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to make way and move away and make way for the Michigan State Spartans, the 3 seed in the East region. They will play their game today against the 14th seeded North Dakota State. They do so at 4:05, but the pregame for that begins at 3 o'clock. So a 1-hour abbreviated show today, and we'll talk about those Spartans with Connor Irigold, the Michigan State beat reporter for the Detroit News, coming up in about 30 minutes from now to get a preview of where the Spartans are. They are, in my opinion, in the toughest bracket ever assembled. In this bracket, in the East region, Duke, Ohio State, St. John's, Kansas, Louisville, MSU, UCLA, and UConn. The absolute blue blood of all blue blood programs in college basketball. It is remarkable to have that kind of firepower, that kind of star power, that kind of just royalty in college basketball all in one bracket. And we'll see what the Spartans do today. We believe they would have no worry or concern whatsoever with North Dakota State. They would play the winner of Louisville and South Florida. And right now, Louisville is playing 4:47 to go in the first half. Louisville is up 30-16. So it looks like they are well on their way to a victory. Just a couple of scores to update you on right now. Ohio State and TCU. Ohio State down 1 with 3 minutes to go in the game. That's a close one. Nebraska looking for their first ever NCAA tournament win. They are up by 19 points. And Wisconsin, another Big Ten team, Wisconsin is up by 6 points in the first half as well. Far be it from me on this March Madness. One thing I did not have on my bingo card was the fact that we would be leading with the Detroit Pistons, though, on this March Madness Thursday. But there is some major Pistons news. And to help us talk about it, Omari Sankofa, he is the Pistons beat writer for the Detroit Free Press. Major news regarding Cade Cunningham earlier today. Sham Charania from ESPN reporting that Cade is going to be out, quote unquote, for an extended period of time because of a collapsed lung. And for more on this, Omari, this was shocking. I had to read it twice to make sure that it was actually Sham's account that posted it. But what is your reaction to the news?
Yeah, obviously it's tough and unfortunate, whenever a guy of Cade's caliber is injured, but especially for it to be a collapsed lung, just on its face sounds pretty scary. The team set a 2-week reevaluation timeline, which, it could happen that soon. It could be a little bit longer. We'll see. But, with 14 games remaining and they're in pole position for first place in the East, there's never a good time for it, but especially tough now.
This is such a devastating injury. I think, look, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Hopefully he's back for the playoffs. We simply don't know, but it really sucks the air out of a fan base and sucks the air out of a basketball team. I think this is an MVP caliber type player, 49 wins, top seed right now in the Eastern Conference. We haven't been this excited about a Pistons basketball team since probably the Going to Work championship days. And maybe a couple of years after they actually won it. But Omari, where does this team go without Cade, at least for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, they're going to need guys to step up. I think it's an opportunity for Jalen Duren, coming off his first All-Star appearance, to be that lead guy. He had a career high against the Wizards the other night, 36 points, and he's been on a bit of a tear since All-Star weekend, so they're definitely going to lean on him more. A guy like Dennis Jenkins, who came into the season on a two-way and then earned a regular contract in February, he's going to be asked to fill in pretty heavily. And they've got some good role guys, but there's nothing you can really do to replace everything that Cade does. The primary scorer, as a facilitator, even defensively, he's been really good this season. So they're going to be in a tough spot. They've got probably 7 or 8 games, maybe a couple more to get through at least until Cade even reaches his window of potentially coming back. So you're at 49 wins. Right now you're, I believe, 3.5 or 4 games up on Boston. There's a chance that you could keep it steady and hang on to number one. But if there's a silver lining, it's that they've already clinched home court advantage at this point. So for the front office, for the medical staff, it's likely just not rushing him back and doing everything possible to make sure that he is healthy for the postseason.
Omari, do we know when he got injured? Was it related to the injury in Washington on Tuesday night when he came out in the first quarter for, presumably at the time, it was those back spasms? Is that when the injury occurred, we believe?
Yeah, it's unclear. Just talking to a medical expert this morning, it usually does not result from just pure blunt impact unless it was like, a really, really serious hit. And in his case, it wasn't that type of hit. But, I think with that, it could be the treatment process after. We've seen in the NFL, sometimes guys get, treated with injections and it could slip past the ribs and get into the lung. Not saying that's what happened, but often it's worst cases that is one thing that can happen. And then you can also just be genetically predisposed to it as well. For taller players, they can just have a genetic disposition for that to happen. So the Pistons will be evaluating all of that, figuring out exactly why it happened, and how to manage it after the fact. But right now, it's tough to say exactly what caused it, but I would assume that it resulted from that collision he had against the Wizards.
Talking to Omari Sankofa, he is the Pistons beat reporter for the Detroit Free Press. Look, you take the MVP candidate off any team, and that team probably would be hurt, and their championship aspirations would also take a major hit. How far, assuming Cade cannot come back for the first round of the playoffs, maybe second round, and again, this is all just speculation, because there's 14 games to go in the season. The playoffs begin in about 4 weeks. How far do you believe the Pistons could go until, if he came back the second round, basically, could they win a series without him? long way to tell you or ask you, can the Pistons win one playoff series without him?
Yeah, I mean, that would be tough. You look at some of the teams they would have to go against. The Atlanta Hawks are a potential team who could be in that category, and they've won 10 or 11 straight.
30 seconds.
The Charlotte Hornets, they shoot the three extremely well, and they've been on a tear since All-Star Weekend. Went from severely below 500 to above now. They played strongly. Then you've got Miami and Philly in that mix too. So, I mean, you've got some stars you'll be going against, whether it's Embiid, whether it's Bam, whether it's Tyrese Maxey. It's going to be a tough matchup regardless. So I think it would become a lot more even at minimum. All those teams have played well enough that, I mean, if Cade's not in that series, I really do think it would be tough for the Pistons to get out. I won't rule them out, but
sure,
it definitely takes a hit.
Well, as you said, he's going to get reevaluated in 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll get some great news at that point. Omari, thank you so much for hopping on short notice. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You got it. Coming up next, we are going to talk to David Shepardson. We're going to be bouncing back and forth between sports and news because this is, again, one of the greatest sports days of the year. So plenty of sports to get to, but there is some news as well. We're going to talk to David Shepardson, correspondent at Thomson Reuters. I want to talk about what's happening at all of these airports around the country with TSA delays. Thankfully, we have not experienced that here at Detroit Metro, but around the country, there is significant slowdowns. So we'll talk to Mr. Shepardson about that. We'll do it all next. 760 WJR.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
800-676-1090. 800-676-1090. 800-676-1090. That's 800-676-1090.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
Paid for by Airtime Media.
Spring is in the air. Hi, friends. Bill Golling here. And with the addition of Golling Chevrolet on Michigan Avenue in Wayne and Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Mack in Detroit, now even more of you can see and experience the Golling difference. Those dealerships join Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram locations in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, Roseville, Golling Alfa Romeo Fiat in Birmingham, Golling Buick GMC in Lake Orion, Golling Toyota in Warren, Golling Kia in Madison Heights, or you can always find us at golling.com.
Escape to the greens with the Cardinal Stay and Play Golf Package at St. John's Resort. Enjoy luxury accommodations and one round of golf for two on the beautiful Cardinal Golf Course, plus unlimited rounds on the Little Cardinal and the putting course. Whether you're sharpening your short game or chasing the perfect drive, it's the ultimate getaway for golfers of every level. Relax, play, and make unforgettable memories. Book your stay and play experience today at stjohnsresort.com.
Move with ease and trust the official mover of the Detroit Pistons, Morse Moving and Storage. Mention WJR when you call and get 10% off your local move or get 2 months of storage free. MorseMoving.com. Let Morse Moving handle the heavy lifting.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
The I-275 southbound off-ramp to westbound M14 closed for construction until early November, and the Lodge northbound off-ramp to Wyoming Street blocked for construction. That should reopen in about 40 minutes. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Here's your forecast.
Finally, springtime is trying its best to make a comeback. Our numbers back closer to average at 48 today, 36 tonight. Sprinkle or two on Friday, up to 62 degrees tomorrow. Saturday, sunshine, high 50. Sunday, mostly cloudy, 63. I'm meteorologist Scott Laria. More at the Weather Channel on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
Sponsored by Femininio Law. GetDavidGetPaid.com. Traffic and weather is sponsored by Femininio Law. Get David, get paid.
After an accident, help shouldn't be on hold. That's why only Femininio Law has the Accident Response Team. We work for you, we meet with doctors, we preserve the evidence. Call 855-65-CRASH or visit GetDavidGetPaid.com.
Searching and searching up and down the dial for NCAA men's basketball. All the most important games from this week's giant matchup right down to the final game. What are you searching for? You're already there. The NCAA playoffs are here, courtesy of Westwood One on 760 WJR.
Welcome back, 760 WJR. Spring break travelers over the next couple of weeks, over the next several weeks, keeping an eye on everything happening at airports around the country. Thankfully, here in Detroit, we have not seen any major delays or any major sick-outs of note when it comes to wait times at TSA. Very blessed about that, because we've seen, you know, whether it's Atlanta, New Orleans, Reagan International in Washington, Philadelphia, Austin, Houston, we have seen wait times of 2 to 3 hours or more at airports there. It feels like it's a day-to-day basis. And to help us talk about it, David Shepardson, he's a reporter at Reuters who covers – I love your Twitter bio or your X bio. Covers anything that moves. I love that. I love that. David, thanks so much for the time. And as a Detroit native, we appreciate you here joining us today. Thanks so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
David, first of all, talk to me overall. How much longer do you believe we can go with airports around the country just not really knowing what's going to happen on any given daily basis?
That's a great question. So we're about 33, 34 days into this shutdown. The TSA, 50,000 TSA officers at checkpoints, got a zero paycheck last Friday. They're going to get another zero paycheck a week from tomorrow if this is not resolved. And look, TSA officers don't make a lot of money. We're talking about $48,000, $50,000 a year. A lot of those individuals are living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard, especially you live in a high cost city like New York or Washington or Chicago. And that's why we've seen this elevated rate of people not showing up. It's about 10% nationwide. Certain TSOs can't find childcare, can't pay their bills, can't even fill their gas tanks. So I think the concern on the part of the airlines and members of Congress is that as we approach that next missed paycheck a week from tomorrow, things could get a lot worse. Things have been generally worse on weekends than weekdays because people's kids are in school, and so they don't have to worry about where they are and whether on the job. But so weekends are a problem, and I do think there's a growing strain. As you said, some airports are seeing higher numbers like New Orleans and Houston, Hobby, and Atlanta is about 35% this week of people not showing up. And you're right, it's hard to know. It's unknown because it depends every day who decides to show up and who doesn't. And I do think, as people said today, the Secretary of Transportation, if we move toward the end of next week and another zero paycheck, I think you could see a lot more problems, a lot longer lines than we've had so far.
David, how much lasting impact can this have on our travel industry? 360, it's been reported 366 TSA agents have quit since this government shutdown. This is the third government shutdown in 6 months. And when you're making, an average of 35 grand or 48, 50 grand in some of the major cities, who wants to go in a field so unstable?
Exactly. No, it's hard to imagine in a place where still unemployment is still very low. We're still around 4% unemployment. And there are other jobs available. And you're right. I think people are saying, hey, why am I going to do this when I could work at a restaurant or somewhere else and make a similar wage? And so with the World Cup this summer, with all the 250th anniversary U.S. celebrations, they're expecting a lot of tourists this summer. There's a lot of pressure on the system. Airlines are predicting record travel in the spring break period and the summer. So I agree. I think people are, having a little bit of a second thought. And remember, this is the second time. We had a 43-day shutdown last fall, right, where these TSOs went 7 weeks. They missed 2 paychecks. So, no, I think the airlines have made the case. It's time to permanently take aviation out of the line of fire, stop making it the political punching bag for both parties to use to try to pressure the other one to shut down these shutdowns. So here, the reality is, I don't think that's going to happen because absent TSA and this public-facing pressure, I don't think there'd be any chance of a deal to fund DHS. I think you'd be in a standoff for months and months unless there's some place where the public feels the pain. And unfortunately, neither side at this point is willing to give.
No doubt about that. Let me ask you about safety for a minute because, look, these TSA workers, their job number 1, 2, and 3 is to keep people safe in the air. They are not getting paid. They're overworked. They're showing up without a paycheck. How much of a concern do you believe safety is now, if at all, traveling through the air?
So I think it's still safe. I do think people are still running the X-ray machines to go through. But TSA agents make mistakes, right? And kind of like in the fall, we talked about air traffic controllers not getting paid. Remember, this time air traffic controllers are getting paid because that bill had been passed. Well, you're right. If you're at a checkpoint and you're in charge of making sure security is safe, and you're thinking about, can I feed my kids? Can I pay the Little League bill for the baseball starting again? What about my mortgage and my rent? There's no question it's got to make you distracted and take some of your focus off. So I think it's safe. Right now the lines are longer. People have to be patient. Thank your TSA officer if you go through security. Remember, they're not getting paid. So I think it's safe, but I think there's definitely a higher risk that somebody misses something because they're not getting paid.
A final question, David. Do you believe you're in Washington? Is there a political impact being felt by either party with this shutdown this time around, or is there nobody feeling a political impact yet? Maybe that's why it's going on as long as it is.
Good question. Not enough, I think, for either party to blink yet. Democrats, I think, feel a little burned. 43-day shutdown. All they got last fall was this vote on a health care bill that didn't go anywhere. And I think that, Democrats have been proposing, and it's been voted down or objected to 7 times, standalone bills just to pay TSA. Republicans say no. You got to fund the whole Homeland Security bill, and that Democrats won't vote for that. So right now, I think nobody is really blaming one side or the other yet, and because I think if the polling showed overwhelmingly, or that it got a lot worse at the airports, then maybe one or both sides feel more pressure to compromise. There's also there's going to be a new Homeland Security Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullen, replacing Kristi Noem, assuming the Senate votes for him, which it seems like they will. There's a chance that once he gets in, which could be in the next few days, maybe that changes the calculus. Maybe it gets both sides to make a deal. Maybe Democrats can feel comfortable with whatever proposal the White House has to try to address their underlying concerns about ICE and immigration.
Any chance Congress would pass a bill that says they don't get paid if there's a government shutdown? Any chance of that ever happening? Because maybe we wouldn't have government shutdowns if they were holding a check.
No way. They propose those things. It's one of the things they throw out there to sound good, but I think reality is, no, that's not going to happen. There's enough people that would gum up the works to prevent something like that from happening. You're right. There's a lot of people say, hey, make members of Congress feel the pain. They're getting paid. They're not feeling any of the pain. Well, a lot of other folks like TSA officers are.
David Shepardson, Reuters reporter, a travel reporter, covers anything that moves, planes, trains, automobiles, just like John Candy and Steve Martin. We love it.
Exactly. Thanks, Brian.
You got it. Thanks so much for the time. You got it. And again, look, this whole thing is over ICE restrictions, masks, judicial warrants, body cams, ICE restrictions. The judicial warrants is a non-starter. That is not happening. That would clog the courts forever. The masks are a non-starter. The officers and their families are being threatened, and that's why they're wearing masks. But there have been major concessions by Republicans, and Democrats should take the win here. Just take the win on things like no Kristi Noem, no more Greg Bovino, no more roving ICE patrols, no more surge in Minneapolis. They're wearing body cams now, and they are wearing clear identification. These are 5 major factors. Take the win. Take the win and get this government open. Pay these TSA workers. Talking college hoops next, 760 WJR.
I love learning about long-standing Michigan family businesses, and one I'm proud to tell you about is Guernsey Farms Dairy. As a mom, I want to make sure my child gets the vitamins she needs to grow healthy, and something that helps her get that is drinking Guernsey Farms Dairy milk. Their award-winning milk, ice cream, lemonade has been a staple in Michigan fridges for over 80 years. When John McGuire started Guernsey Farms Dairy, he had a vision, and now it's continued with the family's 3rd generation. John wanted to create a legacy for his family and the community, and the McGuire family is proud to continue that work today. I've been fortunate to see firsthand how they make their products and learn about the tradition when I met with the family. Remember, when looking for Guernsey's award-winning milk, ice cream, and lemonade, make sure to visit your local grocer, or you could stop by their store and restaurant in Northville for an experience like no other.
Quality that's delicious, that's the Guernsey difference.
Are you struggling with hearing loss? Do friends and family complain that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to repeat themselves? If you want to hear clearly again, but don't want a bulky hearing aid that makes you look old, you need to try Atom X by Audion Hearing. The Atom X is a life-changing breakthrough, precisely designed by top audio engineers, fits comfortably in your ear, is nearly invisible, and lets you adjust your sound so you can hear conversations clearly, at home, at dinner, or on the go. And right now, you can try the Atom X risk-free for 45 days. Call Audion Hearing now at 800-741-HEAR. That's HEAR for a 45-day risk-free home trial with free shipping and money-back guarantee. The Atom X is lightweight, rechargeable, practically invisible, and cost 90% less than prescription hearing aids. Don't miss out. Call 800-741-HEAR for complete details. That's 800-741-4327. Hearing for everyone. Audion Hearing.
Says he told Israel to halt attacks on Iranian energy resources, adding he talked to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
I told him, don't do that, and he won't do that. We didn't discuss. We do. We're independent, but get along great. It's coordinated.
The president speaking while hosting Japan's prime minister at the White House today. Energy prices have spiked around the world during that conflict with Iran. The Pentagon is seeking billions in additional funding amid the ongoing war. Some Democrats expressing opposition.
Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal called reports of a supplemental request from the Pentagon a non-starter.
I think they need to come clean with the American people before they ask for $200 billion.
Saying Congress did not approve of the military action in Iran.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, America, is listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Sponsored by the National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA. Put the expertise and skill of NECA contractors to work on your commercial, industrial, or public electrical construction project. NECA members like Monroe Electric are powering Michigan's future project after project on time and on budget. Learn more at smcnica.org. Midday construction slows you down on I-94 westbound before Connor Street. You're slow from East Outer Drive. That should wrap up by 4 p.m. The Lodge northbound off-ramp to Wyoming Street still closed for repairs until 3 p.m. And some stop and go on the Jeffries westbound between Levan and I-275. Now WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. A mix of sun and clouds today, with a high of 47. Mostly cloudy tonight, will drop down to 36. Morning showers for Friday, an overcast afternoon with a high of 62. Right now, partly cloudy and 47 degrees. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
March is your lucky month at the Nerve and Disc Institute in Farmington, Clinton Township, Grand Blanc, and Bad Axe. Hi, it's Paul W. Smith. Thousands of people, like my wife Kim and I, feel extremely lucky that our chronic back, neck, and knee pain are gone, thanks to our lucky charm, Dr. Saul Kogan. His non-surgical, non-invasive intradisc neutrosis and knee restore RX treatments stimulate the body's self-repair healing process. If you have spinal stenosis, herniated, bulging, or degenerative discs, sciatica pain or numbness, tingling or burning in your hands, arms, or legs, you're in luck. When you mention WJR in March, you'll get a consultation, examination, x-ray, or MRI review, and a laser treatment for just $49 for your first visit at the Nerve and Disc Institute. Your luck is about to change for the better. Call 586-416-DISC. That's 586-416-3472. Call now.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? Whether it's due to job loss, a divorce, a new business venture, or you just didn't file your taxes, don't lose hope. Powerful relief programs are now available that can help you and may reduce or even eliminate what you owe the IRS. With the cost of living affecting millions across the country, Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying anyone with $5, $50, or even $500,000 in back taxes to the IRS to call to get relief options. With over 1,000 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, TRA is America's trusted choice for real tax relief. Relief options are now available that can give you a fresh start and peace of mind. End your tax nightmare today by calling our tax relief hotline. Dial 800-390-8478. 800-390-8478. That's 800-390-8478. Or visit TRA.com. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wow, did you see this?
Barrett News Media. What is that?
Well, they're a national publishing and consulting firm. Media professionals all read their stuff. But look at who they have in the top 15 of the best radio shows in the entire country.
Oh, Focus with Paul W. Smith.
Yeah. JR Morning with Chris Renwick, Lloyd Jackson, and Jamie Edmonds.
And, of course, The Mitch Albom Show.
I guess that's what they mean when they say the great voices of the Great Lakes.
I always thought I had a pretty great voice. I really do.
Don't sing, hon. Don't. It ain't that great.
Barrett News Media says they're the tops in the country. Catch all of the great weekday shows and see for yourself the great voices of the Great Lakes. 760 WJR. Wake up tomorrow with JR Morning with Chris Renwick, Lloyd Jackson, and Jamie Edmonds on 760 WJR. Right now, it's JR Afternoon with Ryan Ermanni.
So we'll talk a little college basketball here. We are expected to be joined by Connor Aragold, the Michigan State beat reporter. He'll join us momentarily, but first let me run it down for you. The first final is in, and it's not good for the Big Ten. Ohio State is out. TCU has beat, I believe it's a bit of an upset. It's a 9-8. It's those games are toss-ups, but nonetheless, the 9th-seeded TCU team wins 66-64 over Ohio State, so the Buckeyes are out. TCU will play the winner of Duke-Siena, which will be Duke. So Michigan State, we're all looking forward to that. And again, if you're just tuning in, we are going to be ending this show today at 3 o'clock, a 1-hour abbreviated version of JR Afternoon, because the Michigan State Spartans, they get going at 4:05. That's first tip, but the coverage for that game begins at 3 o'clock, and we're excited to step aside and get ready for some local action. You can listen to the Michigan State Spartans right here on 760 WJR. 28 years for Michigan State in the NCAA tournament. That is remarkable. And I'm not sure people can comprehend how impressive that is. In today's day and age, especially now with NIL, to continuously be there at the top and one of the field of 64, as they say, field of 68 with the 4 play-in games. What Tom Izzo has done at Michigan State, you don't need me to tell you that it is remarkable. And let's go now to Connor Eargood, Michigan State beat reporter at the Detroit News. Connor, thanks for the time, my friend. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I think today is the best sports day of the year, but that's just me. Where do you rank today on the list of sports calendar days throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, right up there with the Super Bowl, and NBA games on Christmas tend to be great too. But it's up there for sure. Many fond memories from middle school down to now. So.
No doubt about it. Talk to me about 28 years of making the NCAA tournament consecutively. I'm not sure that can even be put into words, the consistency of the program that Tom Izzo has built there in East Lansing.
Yeah, I mean, my parents hadn't even met. So, I mean, that goes to show you. Now I'm covering his team, but, and I get grief as the young guy sometimes. But, no, it's
That's
remarkable.
hilarious. I love
if
that.
You think about generations of Michiganders who've grown up knowing Michigan State expects to play in March. That's what it's all about at Michigan State, right? I think sometimes people don't see as much regular season success or, certain decisions that are made through the course of the season. People have their gripes with, but everything is geared around making this tournament and being able to win in this tournament. And obviously, Tom's had a successful run last year, making it to the Elite Eight, and I think they're eyeing that at least this year. It's going to be harder with this lineup with injuries. Obviously, they're still feeling the injury to Divine Ugochukwu and trying to figure out how to deal with that. But this is a good team. They have a chance to make a run in a region that is tough and has some really hard-hitting teams, but teams that they're familiar with and have played. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
No doubt about it, and that's why you play them one at a time. Talk to me about North Dakota State. Is there anything that could happen in this game that Tom Izzo would not like to see? Because it feels go for it.
If they start hitting threes, I mean, that's upset city right there. When teams hit threes, that's how you see teams get upset, and his team has struggled to defend the three toward the end of Big Ten play and into the tournament against UCLA. So, that's the big red flag that's encircled, or waved, I guess, if it's a flag. But point being, if North Dakota State can hit threes like they can, I think they shoot 38.5% in the season, and they make about 9 to 10 a game. And granted, that's in the Summit League, which is nowhere close to the Big Ten. So you always have to put that in context. But they shoot a lot of threes. They're really hard on their own glass. Granted, again, their schedule, they didn't play anyone as tough as Michigan State. But those are always sort of warning signs for teams when they can hit shots like that. If you remember Middle Tennessee State, they could hardly miss in the first half. They never trailed in that game just because they could shoot so well. So, Izzo and his guys are very familiar with how things can go. Point of emphasis is defending the three.
Connor, Tom Izzo always talks about having just worry about the weekend. And he says, if you win the first game, I'll win the second, because his preparedness is unlike anything we've ever seen in the NCAA tournament. What he does with his staff to get his team ready for a quick turnaround on a weekend game is second to none. What about this weekend as a whole? What does it present for Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans? You mentioned some of the injuries. It looks like Louisville is well on their way to beating South Florida. They're in action right now. So if it's North Dakota State, then Louisville, what does that weekend look like for the Spartans?
Yeah, well, Louisville with Mikel Brown Jr. being hurt, I think he's done for the weekend is what Pat Kelsey said. Obviously, that's touch and go, and I mean, he was in practice moving around, but it's all about clearance and how guys are able to run and cut and do all the things you need to do in a basketball court. But it is a slobber knocker of a game out there right now. I think they just got back on the court. A lot of turnovers, a lot of hard fouls. It seems like both teams are going to be very banged up, and I think if you're Michigan State, you're salivating when you see that. And obviously his mantra is to win the weekend. You don't want to just win one game, because then you wasted the 2 days, right, if you lose the second. So I think it's a favorable matchup. Louisville has some guys that can shoot threes. I think McNeely is a real good player for them. Conwell is having a bit of a rough game, but I think he got hurt early in the first half here on a pretty hard screen. So we'll see how able he is to go later in the week. But still a favorable matchup either way. And I think Michigan State has a pretty good chance of getting out of this weekend and going down to Washington, D.C.
Michigan State beat reporter for the Detroit News, Connor Eargood, joining us now here on 760 WJR. Connor, talk to me about that loss in the Big Ten tournament. Could that ultimately help Michigan State get rested this week? 7 days or 6 days between games, 5 days between games, but 6 overall. Can that help them this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anytime you get punched in the mouth, right, you're going to have a response. And I think that's what this team is sort of built around. It's a lot of guys that don't like to lose, and they especially don't like to lose multiple times in a row. You got to think, before you losing to UCLA, there's pretty tough rivalry loss to Michigan on the road that they wanted to go a whole different way, right? And, there's blood in the mouth, and that can always be a good motivator for a team, especially the guys he recruits. I think they've got a lot to prove. And I think also, if you look at the way they lost that game to UCLA, 3-point shooting, missing a lot of shots on their own accord. Those are things that they're going to need to do well in this one. So it sort of makes it real, right? When you lose a game, you're not thinking too highly of yourself. You're very locked in. I think we're going to see that effect in action today.
All right, last question, Connor. Set the scene for me there in Buffalo. I don't really think about Buffalo as a basketball city, but how have the fans been? Have they traveled? What do we see in Louisville, Michigan State, Michigan? What do we see in there?
A lot of wings and beef on wax being consumed by Michiganders this week. There's a lot of U of M and MSU fans that traveled. It was funny yesterday during Michigan State's open practice. There was a few 6-year-olds, one in Michigan gear and a couple in Michigan State gear. The Michigan State kids are cheering, so excited. Cohen Carr's dunking. Jeremy Fears Jr. hitting threes. They're so excited. I've never seen another kid give more side-eye than that Michigan kid. And it can speak to the rivalry these days. I don't know what does. It's going to be fun. Obviously, putting two rival fan bases in the same city, there's going to be banter. But it's been a real good atmosphere so far. The stands are pretty darn full for a Louisville USF game. So to see what it looks like for this next one as well.
Connor, I enjoyed the heck out of this conversation, man. I'd love to have you back.
Yeah, anytime.
You got it. Enjoy the games in Buffalo. Connor Eargood, the Michigan State basketball beat reporter. We're coming right back. 760 WJR.
Spring is in the air. Hi, friends. Bill Golling here. And with the addition of Golling Chevrolet on Michigan Avenue in Wayne and Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Mack in Detroit, now even more of you can see and experience the Golling difference. Those dealerships join Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram locations in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, Roseville, Golling Alfa Romeo Fiat in Birmingham, Golling Buick GMC in Lake Orion, Golling Toyota in Warren, Gowling Kia and Meta-Sites, or you can always find us at gowling.com.
Escape to the greens with the Cardinal Stay and Play Golf Package at St. John's Resort. Enjoy luxury accommodations and 1 round of golf for 2 on the beautiful Cardinal Golf Course, plus unlimited rounds on the Little Cardinal and the putting course. Whether you're sharpening your short game or chasing the perfect drive, it's the ultimate getaway for golfers of every level. Relax, play, and make unforgettable memories. Book your Stay and Play experience today at stjohnsresort.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
800-676-1090. 800-676-1090. 800-676-1090. That's 800-676-1090.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
Paid for by Airtime Media.
Whitaker Logistics is looking to bring on owner-operators with later model trucks, fleet owners, and highly qualified company drivers throughout our Midwest region. If you're an experienced driver willing to run in a regional market, our customer base provides a work-life balance and dispatch flexibility second to none. In addition to our flexible work week configurations, ask about our contractor compensation, as well as our company driver benefits. Talk to our recruiter at 866-711-1390 or submit your application at drivewhitaker.com.
I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. We make mortgages easy, and we believe transparency is the key to great client service. Our clients get the lowest rate and fees while communicating with one home loan advisor from start to finish. To make your experience even easier, we're going to cover the cost of your appraisal. Transparent and direct communication, lowest rates and fees, and a free appraisal. The client just means more at Hall Financial. 866-CALL-HALL or callhallfirst.com.
Hall Financial, equal housing lender. NMLS number 1467435.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by the National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA, with the expertise and skill of NECA contractors to work on your commercial, industrial, or public electrical construction project. NECA members like DF Best are powering Michigan's future project after project on time and on budget. Learn more at smcneca.org. Midday construction slows you down on I-94 westbound before Connors Street. You're slow from East Outer Drive. That should wrap up by 4 p.m. And the Lodge northbound off-ramp to Wyoming Street also closed for repairs for about another 15 minutes or so. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Mary Grove Awnings. 48 hours you could be sitting in the shade this week. Mary Grove, motorized, no crank, built in Detroit for over 90 years. Book your free appointment now at marygrove.com or by calling 1-800-44-AWNING. Here's your forecast.
Finally, springtime is back in the air. Temperatures up to 48 degrees today, and there's no snow on weather radar today. And looks like we're going to be in the 60s coming up for the weekend. So looking forward to a nice uphill climb. 36 tonight, sprinkler to tomorrow, 62. Sunshine Saturday, 50 degrees. Sunday, mostly cloudy, 63. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore at the Weather Channel on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
You're up.
760 WJR. That was a great conversation. I had so much fun. Connor Eargood was gold here on 760 WJR. And look, I think it's tremendous what Michigan State has in front of them. The Spartans have an opportunity to do something that only so many teams get to do each and every year, but no team in the history of college basketball has ever come out of a bracket that features Duke, St. John's, Kansas, Louisville, UCLA, UConn, and Michigan State. I mean, that is what whoever wins this East region, that is exactly they're going to earn that Final Four berth. And you wonder if the team that comes out of the East, whoever it is, if they are going to be battle tested or if they are going to be just so beat up because they went through a gauntlet, unlike anything we've ever seen before. But it starts with one game at a time, one weekend at a time. And again, Michigan State will tip at 4:05 today, right here on 760 WJR against the 14th seeded North Dakota State. They were 27-7 this year. They can shoot the three. That's where Michigan State struggles. So if they knock down some threes, look out, they'll have a chance. But we believe Michigan State should have somewhat of their way with North Dakota State. And then it would be a matchup with presumably Louisville. Right now, as we pull up the scoreboard here, Louisville is leading by 8 points, 41-33 over South Florida. 17 minutes to go in the game in that one. We do have the first final in the books, two finals now. Nebraska with their first ever win in the NCAA tournament. The fourth seeded Nebraska Cornhuskers, they beat Troy 76-47. So as you're filling out those brackets and keeping track of your bracket, TCU beat Ohio State 66-64. So the Buckeyes are out. Two more games in progress right now. Louisville, a 10-point lead over South Florida, 43-33. And Wisconsin, a 2-point lead. There's that 12-5 game. Each and every year, there seems to be an upset in this 12-5 matchup. And right now, High Point trails Wisconsin by 2 at halftime. And then another 4 games will get underway momentarily. For the Michigan Wolverines, they are also in Buffalo. They play the 16th seeded team from Howard, who won the play-in game on Tuesday night. So a 1 against a 16. There's plenty of high hopes for the Michigan Wolverines. And wouldn't that be something if we could get Michigan and Michigan State in the final? Would that be as iconic as ever? It would be nice if we could do it again next year, too, with the Final Four being played in Detroit at Ford Field. Wouldn't that be something? But there is plenty of work to do. The Final Four, the national championship game, is some weeks away. We've got April 6th. That's when the national championship game takes place. But all roads lead to Indianapolis. But it begins for Michigan and Michigan State in Buffalo. And as Connor said, both teams have had some fans travel there. There's some maize and blue. There's some green and white. And that's how it should be. I think a lot of people expected and wanted to be in Buffalo because it's such an easy drive from Detroit. What is it, a 4-hour drive or so from Detroit? You can go up through Canada and around, and there you have it. But we'll see. And look, as far as the brackets go, I do not anticipate a ton of upsets this year. I just don't. And I made the statement with Steve Courtney yesterday because of NIL, name, image, likeness, because there are so many players getting paid to play college sports. And I'm not against it. I don't like the way in which they're being paid. Just bags of cash being handed over essentially to play for the team. That is not in the spirit of what NIL is, but that is another conversation for another day. We can get into it or we don't have to, but you know, when these rosters like Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Michigan State, Florida, Iowa State, when you can pay players, the chances of getting upset by Akron, or getting upset by Wright State, or getting upset by North Dakota State, or Furman. Furman has no chance to beat UConn, and maybe they didn't have a chance to beat them 5 years ago either. But now it is a lot more difficult to beat some of the big guys. So one of the charms of the NCAA tournament was seeing all of the upsets early on. I just don't see it. I just do not see it. Last year we had 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. That's what I have this year as well. 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four: Duke, Florida, Arizona, and Michigan. That's my Final Four, with Duke and Michigan playing, and Michigan winning the national championship. Of course I do. They were one of the 2 or 3 best teams in college basketball all year long, and they've got a very favorable draw in this tournament in the Midwest region, and I anticipate them going all the way to Indianapolis and ultimately getting some revenge on Duke, not only for this year, but for years past, and avenging the loss in the 1992 NCAA college basketball national championship game. So hopefully everybody is enjoying the games. Maybe you got out of work a little early today and you're going up to your local pub, grabbing the fellas, and you're going to go watch some college basketball. It is a nice departure a little bit from the heavy news cycle that we have been in lately, and I really enjoyed having this discussion with you all. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing that. Our top story of the day, which we started out with, Pistons guard Cade Cunningham out an extended period of time, unfortunately, due to a collapsed lung. So we'll keep an eye on that. The team says he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, but certainly nothing for 2 weeks, and we'll get a reevaluation after that. That's going to do it for me today. We're going to step aside. Coming up next, it's Michigan State basketball for the 28th year in the NCAA Tournament. March Madness, baby. Get your brackets ready. We got you covered. 760 WJR.